pass intended for Love, and then he threw it down to give the Pacers a 3-point lead. Indiana score early and often. Now Paul George right through the lane.
The pass, he delivers the pass where it needs to go. He's exposed.
This was the first of what would be many. I think so did Hansbrough. Paul George inside.
Strong in the lane. Little brush screen there by David West. Gets Gay on his heels. Roy Hibbert blocks out Valanciunas. And Paul George does the rest.
A lob to George.
An excellent pass up top from Hibbert. And I mean,
Dang, excellent job. 4 to shoot. George puts it in.
George is having a nice game, solid game. 4 for 10.
For the only undefeated team left in the NBA, the 4-0 Pacers, who
would get the ball and then lay it coming through, which means you can't get started on your offense quite as fast.
Paul George beats the buzzer with a 3-point shot.
Oh yeah, he was looking to make that happen.
George, the jumper, is good.
Hibbert with the ball screen. Here's George falling away. Hits another off balance.
And this is a big step back.
And Paul again.
He knows he's got a score that's looking to score. And he turns and goes the other way before it goes into the rim.
George will bring it up. Defended by Bass. George takes it into the paint, hangs, score it, and he'll get to the line. And all of a sudden, the the Pacers.
On NBA TV, this game being shown around the world. You spent some time with all of the broadcasters in New York. It's amazing where you've been able to take this lead as far as television is concerned.
We'd gone about 6 minutes into the game, and we didn't see much early in the game. The Pacers, and it was.
Here's in for the first time. He's replaced Lance Stevenson. Step back jumper by Paul. Now Paul George inside.
Yeah, you can see.
That's knocked away. Paul George scoops it up. Step back 3. Wow. Long rebound.
Yeah, just throw it out there.
Traveling call.
Well, they want to, the point of emphasis is traveling. They want to be able to.
Expect that they're going to start Granger at the start of the year, but we'll see as West off to a slow start, 0 for 2, but now 4 for 7. It out. C.J. Watson back to a driving George, and he banked drive, and then the kick out. George from the corner, and he knocked that. See, once they start doing this for real, there's 1:45. George fires the jumper and score. Hill. Fade away, and that's a tough
basket. Now scoring inside, never easy against Indiana when you've got 7-2 Roy Hibbert in there. Paul rebound was grabbed by Orlando Johnson. Paul George pulls up and nicks.
The more he plays, the more wins the Mavs will have.
And now down to 5 on the shot clock as Paul George tries to create off the dribble and launch. Good things, man. The sooner Wright's on the floor, the better. That's no doubt about that. Paul George.
But he can definitely do something there. And there's Paul. Lead once again. And holding Indiana, kind of it goes. Yeah, Stevenson again. Danny Granger out of Grace King Metairie. Product is out of the shot clock. It's going up. Paul George take the lead. And George thought about a 3, didn't he? Instead, he'll take the lead.
Series is tied at 44 apiece. Pacers have won the last 2. And Paul George. George takes it right at Etuan Moore and got it. In game.
That pass is too late.
Paul George got hit in the face, but it doesn't matter.
Finish at the rim. Not only get there, but finish. Stop. He'll go and stop. Stop. Now he goes, and now with Hibbert, it's in the basket.
Now Paul George delivers the 3.
Athlete to make that kind of change.
Paul George to the rim. Here, that's his 6th miss. And now Paul George, a 3. It's perfect.
Paul George with the up fake.
Steal. Josh Smith with a block from behind, but George.
George over Rodney
Stuckey.
Paul George, will he take a shot here? Does, and David West to Stevenson to George for the clock is now 12. George from the top. Mahimi feeds George. Here is Watson faking the shot. Goes to George with it.
5 a game, 5 threes a game.
George. Donald Sloan now comes in for Indiana. Paul George nails it.
Percentage.
George, difficult shot.
Noah has 4 assists.
George! They have not been able to get the three-point shot going. Paul George done.
On this pass back out here, he's moving back. He made the catch and shoot.
In the post is Paul George. Has size on DeRozan. David West, too strong. There's Paul George in the teeth of the defense. Ducks in. Paul got it.
They're splitting the double team. He dribbled into a place where he had nowhere to go.
Orlando Johnson, a nice shot flick. And Paul George, the 3 team in the third quarter,
finally gives it up to George with 3 to shoot. Paul George cans the jump.
So much to post up. Maybe that's the last piece he needs.
Paul George buries the Paul Pierce, 7 points. Paul George and answers
as well, so he can shoot over the top, feeling confident with that.
George George slicing through with the pull-up into Scola. Handoff George for 3. He got it. Pacers have led most of this second half. George, difficult look, but he buries
here all summer. Well, so was Lance Stevenson.
108 to 90. George in the lane.
Tempo, that's part of it.
Paul George gets inside. 10th rebound for Stevenson. He has the double-double. Make it the 11th rebound. As Paul, for many of the older military veterans, that they weren't honored.
Got one. Paul George with a little light left. See where the opportunity is. And that's what you heard Popeye Jones talking about. He pushed
to extend Lionel Hollins' contract. And so assistant Dave Yeager is the new coach.
They don't get Tony Allen out of the game because what they're worried about is him getting frustrated. And that's John. He's playing with a lot more aggressiveness.
Stevenson to Paul George, and he's hooked the leg of Noah. Lead pass ahead. Paul George runs in. Layup good. Foul by Derek. You probably are better served to just let George go in and lay that home. Drive and a
points per game. And now Paul George, his 3-point in. And now Paul George against Middleton. Forces up a shot.
And shooting jump shots with your defense on them, that's all you can ask for.
Paul George, jump shot good.
Oh, he popped O.J. Mayo.
Games and got to the playoffs, and neither one was retained.
Yeah, well, listen. What happened in line?
Paul has 3 third-quarter field goals, trying to add another.
That's the same lineup they had out there. They're just trying to get shooters on the field. You put Paul George back.
Now coming in with 8 straight 20-point games and an 8-0 record, Paul.
George still looking for his first point. Falling away, count it.
The NBA, drafted as a defender. Coming out of college, Larry Bird saw something in him that he really loved. This young guy has worked so hard on his game this summer, playing himself.
Here's George from the corner. Puts it on the floor and hits.
Over Prigioni. Here you are once again. 2-dribble pull-up, pump fake. Not organized. Very, very good defense.
George through the contact and down.
And again, the little fading jump shot to create the space.
Jim O'Brien on an interim basis back in January of 2011. George falling away, able to hit. Player in his 6th year. He was an all-star in 2012. Here's George for 3. It's good for Paul.
Game away. They played well enough to win.
Bad pass by Prigioni, and then George with the
game. I think he's a very underrated player. I like Prigioni's game defensively.
George driving past his man. Beautiful hang and score. They work it around to an open George. Lets it fly.
Guess who? And him work here early in this year and tonight.
Here's George off balance.
On him, and then Paul George, a little dribble to sort of split.
Celtics a 3-point lead here early. 5 minutes gone.
Honey.
George looking for a shot. Takes it. Makes it. Crawford, he's 9 of 10. George, little heat check. West in a mismatch, kicks it back to George. George, the jumper. Shoot.
Really try to work on
George. Another turnover. Up to George. Easy shoot. Gets it over to George. George knocks down a three.
In a starting role or off the bench. In fact, had a triple-double in his first start. George, separation. And
oh, no, you shouldn't. Yeah.
5 now on the clock.
Can't try to do it yourself. He may make it. But
battling for post position. Here's a three, and it's good by Paul. Small chance to take their first lead. Guarded by Corey Brewer, who played last year in Denver. First quarter points, 3 of 3 from the field. Now Paul George attacks Pekovic, gets inside and scores.